Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the March 5th edition of Carolina Week, we'll tell you why the price of gas is so high and how the cost is affecting our daily lives.
He looks healthy now, but we'll tell you what almost killed this Carolina senior.
In sports, what could be better? This weekend, it's Carolina and Duke.
Weathercaster Jonathan O will tell us if we can expect more warm temperatures and spring showers.
All that and a big surprise for some of the Heel's most avid fans. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Adam Rue.
And I'm Sarah Huffman. Thank you for joining us. Chapel Hill police are asking for your help. They're trying to identify a shooting victim found dead this morning at the intersection of Hillcrest Drive and Hillcrest Circle. The victim is a blonde female between 18 and 25 years old, approximately 5'6" and 120 pounds. She was wearing gray sweatpants and a blue short-sleeve shirt. If you can help identify her, authorities are asking that you call the Chapel Hill Police Department at 968-2760. That's 968-2760.
The price of gas in the Triangle has matched a new record high, the same as we saw right after Hurricane Katrina. Some of you blame oil companies, which are reaping record profits, while others of you blame the state's high gas tax. Whatever the cost, things are getting tough for the average driver. Our report tonight from Carolina Week's Lib Curley.
UNC senior Ellery Turner didn't expect her job to cost her.
Well, I pick up 2 kids in Durham twice a week, so I have to drive there and drive back, but I also take them to tennis practice and dance classes and go to the grocery store for their mom, so I spend a lot of money on gas every week.
Crude oil now costs more than $100 a barrel, which has sent gasoline prices soaring to a national average of more than $3 a gallon. Experts expect an upturn in the economy after the government pays out $107 billion in tax rebates starting in May. But with gas prices predicted to hit $4 a gallon this summer, those paychecks might end up at the pump. This won't affect drivers only. Those looking to buy new homes will have to consider heating costs, which could weaken the already struggling housing market. The burden in buying expensive gas is that it's an everyday necessity, so its impact is greater on those with lower incomes. Gas companies say the solution is investment in new energy supplies instead of increasing taxes on fuel that would hurt the consumer even more. UNC professor of economics Boone Tershi says no matter what, higher prices mean higher profits for gas companies.
The profit margins for these oil companies, the large oil companies, are really quite high, and that's a function of the major increase in petroleum prices. No question about that.
Gas prices go up when there's turmoil abroad because we depend heavily on foreign resources.
Immediately when there's an oil price rise or any kind of problem in the Middle East, you'll see prices at the pump going up very rapidly.
Like many consumers, Turner says she's watching her spending until gas prices go back down, if they ever do.
Well, because I have to spend so much money on gas, it means I'm not getting as much out of my paycheck. So I definitely think more about how much I spend during the week on going out to eat with friends and going out at night.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Lib Curley. Carolina Week.
With the price of regular unleaded near $3.20 a gallon in our area, a fill-up for an average car will run you about $40. Well, it might not be cheaper, but some state vehicles on campus will soon use a new kind of gas. UNC's Facility Services now has an E85 tank at its service station. E85 is a blended fuel that's 85% ethanol and 15% gasoline. More than 200 state vehicles will be able to use the new mixture. Facility Services spokesman Brandon Thomas says the new fuel shows the university's commitment to reducing dependence on petroleum.
It's totally renewable, which means that it, relies so little on fossil fuels, which are limited. A renewable fuel such as this is theoretically unlimited.
State law requires UNC to reduce its overall use of petroleum by 20% before 2010.
Most students don't have hybrid cars, but many will be leaving town for spring break coming up in the next few days. Marissa May joins us. Marissa, where are students going and what are those trips going to cost?
Sarah, the cost of gas is definitely figuring into the plans of Carolina students, and many are doing everything they can to soften the blow.
Well, now that gas prices are high, we're gonna pile in my friend's car and just split it up and hope that we have enough money to make it.
We were gonna go to Florida, but we just couldn't drive. We couldn't pay all that, so we're just gonna stay in Chapel Hill now and hope for good weather, you know?
This is like totally messed up my spring break plans. I was planning on going down to Florida with a whole bunch of friends. We were gonna like carpool right down there, have a good time, but I don't know, like it's so expensive.
Let's look at what it might cost you to get to some typical spring break destinations. If you want to go to Myrtle Beach, you can do that for about $30 one way. If you want to head down to Daytona Beach, that will cost you about $75 each way. And if you really want to go for that big road trip to the slopes of maybe Breckenridge, Colorado, count on spending $220 each way just for gas.
Marissa, what about flying? How has the cost of fuel affected airline ticket prices?
Of course, you do have the cost of the ticket and an extra charge you might not be expecting.
Airline tickets definitely have gone up a little bit based on the way that they used to price them, because now they're having these fuel surcharges.
So any way you look at it, you're going to have to shell out some big bucks to get to your spring break destination.
Marissa May reporting from the studio. Thank you. None of us wants to have a prolonged illness during our college years.
But preventative measures don't always work.
I'm Christina Montserrat. Many UNC students get the meningitis vaccine. Coming up, why you might not be safe against getting the disease.
There's something you should know about me. I'm not easy to live with. In fact, I have a really ugly side. I don't always let you speak when you want. I can leave you feeling shaken and confused. And if you ignore me, I might lash out, leaving you dead. I am a stroke.
Learn to recognize a stroke and act quickly. Time lost is brain lost.
Las frutas, qué ricas son. Las frutas empacadas con potasio y otros nutrientes pueden ayudar a mantener tu corazón fuerte durante el juego y te devuelven energía para que puedas pasar a la próxima actividad. ¿Puede tu comida hacer eso? Corre, lanza, piensa, come mejor. Averigua más en smallstep.gov.
College students are always at risk for bacterial meningitis, and vaccination is not 100% effective. Health reporter Christina Montserrat explains.
Jonathan Davis's scars remind him of his case of meningitis that nearly took his life 4 years ago.
They told my parents I wasn't going to make it.
After 11 days in the hospital and treatment with antibiotics, he recovered. The UNC senior is active enough now to referee youth soccer. UNC doctor David Weber says the course of bacterial meningitis is hard to predict.
It's a relatively unusual disease, but nevertheless one that causes devastating complications when it occurs.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say meningitis is an inflammation of the lining of the spinal cord or brain. It can result from either viral or bacterial infection. Meningitis symptoms may include high fever, headache, vomiting, stiff neck, and sores like those that left scars on Jonathan Davis.
College students living in dorms are at a greater risk for contracting bacterial meningitis because they live so close together.
Although immunized, Davis had a bacterial strain not covered by the vaccine. Davis's mother, Helen Davis, says the family now lives differently since her son's diagnosis and recovery.
I think we appreciate things a lot more and don't take things for granted, and just try to love each other even that much more, because we just know how quick things can change.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Christina Montserrat, Carolina Week.
Davis was lucky. The CDC says 10 to 14% of bacterial meningitis cases are fatal.
Outgoing Chancellor James Measer's time as the leader of UNC is drawing to a close. He'll step down from his post June 30th, and he's spending much of this semester in reflection. I sat down with him this morning to talk about his last few months as chancellor. Are you feeling a little sentimental now?
Sure. Last night was my last home game in the Smith Center. So it wasn't just senior night, it was senior night for me too.
What was that like?
Well, it was nostalgic. I mean, to realize that it's not my last game in the Smith Center, but it's my last game at the third row mid-court, you know, with those fabulous seats that are one of the best perks of this job is having a parking place right outside the Smith Center on a center court seat. And, you know, and to realize that the next time I come, I won't be chancellor. So that's, yeah, there are those moments of poignancy when I realize this is the last time I'm doing that.
Is your last day going to be a day where you're really looking forward and looking at the new opportunities that lie ahead, or do you think you're going to sort of linger in the doorway and say, it's a difficult change for me?
I think it'll be both, actually.
Why?
Well, this is, looking forward, I mean, there's this sense of liberation of being in charge of my own calendar, and actually having, for the first time in my whole adult life, except for one period where I had one other sabbatical, sort of the freedom of being totally in charge of what I do. And I actually can look forward to coming back as a faculty member and staying engaged. So it's not as if I'm being sent into exile, like Napoleon.
The group tasked with finding Measer's replacement is starting to whittle down the pool of potential candidates. Members of the Chancellor Search Committee have interviewed about 20 people for the position, and they hope to have their work completed by the end of the term.
Many people are breathing a little sigh of relief after yesterday's stormy weather. Ominous clouds finally swept in yesterday, dumping much-needed rain on a thirsty Chapel Hill. Neglected umbrellas and dusty raincoats finally got some attention, along with your trendy galoshes. Covered carts helped shelter strolling pedestrians from the gale force winds, and parched drains finally had a drink to wash down backed up debris. Unfortunately, 2 inches of rain won't do much to alleviate the drought. The reason? We were 10 inches below normal before last night. As water levels at University Lake and Cane Creek reservoirs dwindle close to 40% capacity, the Orange Water and Sewer Authority is moving to the next stage in water restrictions. Residential and business customers will incur an additional surcharge for water use. The restrictions will affect all area pools, so swimming might not be much of a recreation option this summer.
UNC is saying goodbye to one of its oldest academic buildings, Venable Hall. Workers have been hard at work clearing the area 12 hours a day and 7 days a week. The building opened in 1925 and was home to the science department for 83 years. With the new Venable building up and running, Carolina officials hope to continue to boast a competitive presence as one of the nation's premier research institutions. A campus-wide campaign to get you to watch where you walk could be leading to changes at other universities. Yield to Heels kicked off in 2006. The program's purpose is to educate everyone about safety on the roads, whether you're walking, driving, or riding a bike. Jennifer Bonchak of the Highway Safety Research Center helped start the program. She thinks Yield to Heels is doing more than just raising awareness here at Carolina.
We've actually been contacted by the University of Arkansas at Little Rock that they heard about our program, want to implement a similar one on their campus.
Program coordinators note the importance of a program like Yield to Heels on a college campus, which Bonchak says is something other universities are realizing as well.
The town of Chapel Hill has already installed 6 free wireless hotspots, and it's ready to install 4 more. Perhaps you've checked your email near the Visitors Bureau or within range of the post office. Maybe you've looked up movie listings online after dining at 411 West. For those who don't have their own laptops, the Hargrave Center offers both free wireless and free access to computers. Chapel Hill will increase the number of community hotspots, this time in residential areas.
The Republican Party has a presidential candidate in John McCain, but the Democrats are still undecided. Hillary Clinton won last night's primaries in Ohio, as well as primaries in Texas and Rhode Island. Although the race in Texas was close, Clinton's focus on the economy was enough for a win. Barack Obama was able to win Vermont, but Clinton's recovery and Obama's loss of momentum means the race is uncertain once again. There have been mixed reactions across the country, including here on campus.
I was surprised she took him. I definitely didn't see that she had momentum.
I think that's a good stop on his momentum, and I know he's pretty far ahead in delegates, but I think she could do it just by winning a couple of contests in the next couple weeks.
Even though the North Carolina primary isn't until May 6th, our state could play a big role in determining the Democratic nominee. And we're joined now by weathercaster Johnny O.
Well, Johnny, we saw a lot of rain yesterday. Are we going to see any more in the near future?
Well, it's springtime, so there is a hit and miss chance almost every day around this time of year. But we saw a beautiful day today, but how does the rest of your week look? I'll have to look at that forecast coming up next.
Why do I call it a funny bone? Why can't penguins fly? Like a sea safety. Can we go to the moon on vacation?
If you think it's tough answering these questions, imagine the ones you'll get if your child is diagnosed with cancer. CureSearch.org can help. It's run by doctors and scientists whose research has led to an overall cure rate of 78%. You're not as alone as you feel.
Find ways to make your home more defensible against wildfire. What have you got to lose? Except everything.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Jonathan. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. We're taking a look at those weather headlines, and yesterday it was a stormy Tuesday, and we needed that rain, but now we're going to see a change because we're going to see a sunny couple of days before we see another chance of some rain as we get into your spring break. Now, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast that we had a significant amount of rain. How much? 2 inches. That set a record for March 4th of any time. The last time we had a record was in 1966, where we had 1.5 inches of rain. So what does that mean so far? This year, 6.5 inches. Normal for this time of year, we're supposed to be at 8 inches, so we're still about 1.5 inches below what we're supposed to be for this time of year. If we add the deficit from last year, almost 9 inches. So we have quite a ways to go if we need that, because we need that rain for this time of year. Taking a look at the Carolina Satellite Radar, notice those severe showers and storms have pushed off the coast. Clear conditions are now in place for us here in North Carolina. The reason is because we have a high pressure system that is dominating the southeastern section of the United States, and the winds rotate clockwise on this system. So today we saw winds from the north, temperatures were slightly cooler. But as this system continues to push toward the east as we head into your Thursday, winds are going to come from the south, and temperatures are going to be moving into the upper 60s. Now, speaking about the weekend, a big game's coming up. Carolina going over to Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium this Saturday at 9 p.m. After the rains move through Friday and into Saturday morning, we're going to see partly cloudy conditions. Temperatures will be in the 40s as you head toward the game, but take a jockey with you because temperatures will be falling into the 30s as we head into your later evening hours. Now, spring break's coming up. What can you expect if you're traveling this Saturday? Well, unfortunately, that system that's going to be moving through later on this weekend is going to affect the travel weather this Saturday. Temperatures will be falling into the 40s. Rain expected throughout the entire eastern seaboard. And in the southeast, same conditions. We're expecting rain for Atlanta at 58 degrees, 59 over Myrtle Beach, 54 here in Chapel Hill. But again, rainy conditions for the daytime. Hopefully we'll be clearing out as we go through the evening hours on Saturday and into Sunday. If you're headed to the Caribbean, lucky you, because it's going to be sunny. 85 degrees in Key West, 87 over in the Bahamas, and 88 degrees over in Puerto Rico. So if you're headed down south, it's going to be a beautiful spring break. Here's a look at your forecast for tonight. Expect temperatures to be in the upper 30s under partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow our highs will be into the upper 60s under partly cloudy skies. Next 4 days, Thursday's a nice day. And then Friday and Saturday, we're going to expect a chance of some rain. Temperatures will fall into the mid-50s as we head into the beginning of your full week of spring break. Overnight lows will be from the mid-40s to around 30 degrees for your Sunday morning. And don't forget, as you go to bed Saturday night, put your clocks ahead 1 hour forward for Sunday morning because daylight saving time comes into effect.
Well, you know, the rain, whenever we see it coming, everyone gets really excited because it would help the drought, but I know a lot of students really want some sunny, warm weather for their spring break week.
I know, it's an enjoyable forecast when you can set out on the beach.
Yeah, that Key West forecast looks really nice. Johnny, thanks. Don't forget to spring forward this weekend as we set our clocks ahead 1 hour Sunday morning. Daylight saving time was originally intended to reduce power costs, but a study in the Wall Street Journal shows that running air conditioning during warm afternoons might cost more than the savings you get by turning the lights on later in the day. Last year, Congress expanded daylight saving time by about a month. But Duke professor Norman Christensen says there are better ways to save on energy costs.
I think we're trying too hard to find some easy thing that that will make some big difference, and I think we really need to look hard at just simply behavior and fundamental issues of conservation.
Daylight saving time runs from early March through the first Sunday in November.
And now we're joined by sportscaster Walter Storholt.
Walter, I have been looking forward to this weekend for a very long time.
You're right, Adam. Carolina versus Duke, just getting March Madness kicked off. Coming up in sports, go ahead, fight off your responsibilities this week because it's ACC tournament time.
When I found out my jeans were made using child labor in sweatshops, I wrote a letter to the company saying, reconsider your labor practices. A few months later, I get a letter back saying, thanks for being a loyal customer, and they included a coupon for a 25% discount on their jeans. So I got smart, wrote letters every day to all the stores that carry the brand, asking them to stop supporting the companies who use child labor in sweatshops. And I just kept getting letters back, thanking me for my concerns, and more coupons for more discounts on more jeans. So I'm telling my friend about it, and she flips out, saying that between all the letters and coupons, some paper company cut down a small forest, driving off 2 indigenous tribes, hundreds of endangered animals, killing thousands of plant species, some of which may have contained vaccines for HIV, cancer, and syphilis. Meanwhile, the guys cutting down the trees are 13-year-old kids who will work night and day for months just to save up enough money to buy a pair of jeans made by child labor in sweatshops.
The men's basketball team is on a roll. The #1 ranked Heels played their last home game of the season Tuesday night. It was a big night for senior Surrey Wood, who got a new career high of 4 points, but it was even bigger for senior Quentin Thomas, the only remaining player from the 2005 national championship team. Tyler Hansborough had 20 points against the Seminoles, and Marcus Ginyard chipped in 13 more before fouling out. Ginyard fought hard, though, and Carolina beat Florida State 90-77. And after the strong performance last night, the Heels have only 1 game before the ACC tournament, and I guess you could say it's a big one. Sarah Moore has the story.
Still 28 wins, 13 of them in the league. We feel good about where we are, and we've got a big-time game on Saturday.
The team's 2 setbacks were in conference. Carolina lost to Maryland and Duke this season, and the Heels just happened to be headed to Durham for a rematch with the Devils on Saturday. UNC played the previous Duke game without some key players, including Ty Lawson. In Tuesday night's game, Lawson got hurt again, but this time it's not his ankle, it's his hip.
Try to take care of the body, get treatment, and again, at this time of the year, everybody's got aches and pains.
Tyler Hansborough made an impressive showing at the previous Duke game with 28 points and 18 rebounds, but he was the only Tar Heel with much success. Wayne Ellington had only 8 points, about half his season average, and Danny Green had only 3 points, a fourth of his average. If the Heels want sweet revenge, more players are going to have to follow Hansborough's lead and make some baskets. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sarah Moore, Carolina Week Sports.
The men's team isn't the only one with a big weekend ahead. Sunday, the women's basketball team faced off against Duke, and the results were sweet for the Heels. Carolina's 82-51 win is the largest margin of victory against Duke since 1982, and it's the biggest win in this series in the entire Sylvia Hatchell era at UNC, thanks to seniors like Latoya Pringle and Orlana Larkins. The dance team and even Roy Williams made it out to the game. Friday, the #1 seed Heels will defend last year's title in the ACC tournament's second round. The Heels will face either NC State or Clemson. Carolina went up against both of these teams in the regular season and won each time.
And just a lot of different ones that contributed to the game today. So it was a great way to end up, and like I said, now we're looking forward to tournament time.
UNC baseball's 4 victories during the weekend are just what the Heels needed after losing their home opener last week. In the Coca-Cola Classic, the Tar Heels faced Winthrop Thursday, winning 6-1, and on Friday, the Heels shut down Kent State 8-1. The Heels beat the St. John's Red Storm twice 8-2 on Saturday and 4-2 on Sunday to take the Coca-Cola Classic title. And they're back. The football team is back out on the practice fields for spring camp. The coaches and the players are getting ready for the 2008 season. It will be Butch Davis's second season at Carolina, but Butch won't be the only seasoned veteran. These players will be ready with new recruits when they get here this summer. Everyone's hoping the 2008 season will hold better results for the Heels than the past few seasons have. Adam, I'm looking forward to this season. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of really cool home games in the 2008 year.
Yeah, never too early to get excited about college football.
That's right.
Thank you, Walter. There are a lot of perks to being a student fan at UNC, sometimes even new shoes.
Coming up, from athlete recognition to fan recognition, new kicks for some lucky Tar Heel faithful.
Walk. Don't walk. Walk. Do not enter. Hot dogs. Definitely like hot dogs. Motorcycle club. Everything must go. Ghostly ghouls. Don't look at that, Teddy. Body piercing. Ouch.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
I hang out with a pretty trashy circle. The circle that helps this circle by recycling trash. We sort glass, plastic, separate cans, stack newspapers and magazines. Now, thanks to us, there are lots of products made from things we've already recycled. This cereal box wants your Sunday paper. These paper clips, in a more daring life, of 56 convertibles. The circle works like this. It starts when we recycle trash at home and at work. It's completed when we buy products made from or packaged in recycled materials. How do you know the difference? Check the label for something called post-consumer recycled content. It looks like this. Make a mental note. Then buy the highest percentage of it you can find. You'll save a tree, you'll save energy, and in your own way, you'll help save the world. Complete the circle.
Call 1-800-2-RECYCLE for your free shopping guide. Environmental Defense. Finding the ways that work.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
With a rematch against Duke coming up, it's important to recognize the role student fans play, and it's nice when they get rewarded for playing that role. Stacy Putzakulish has more.
Nike helped Carolina recognize its fans by honoring 75 of them Monday night at the Be True Fan Banquet. Fever director Kellen White worked with Nike to organize the banquet and handpicked the 75 lucky attendees.
Picked all the seniors from Carolina Fever, all the seniors from CA Cabinet, a couple other people from Cabinet, people from DTH, from different Greek organizations, the Clefs. Pretty much I try to represent the majority of campus, get the best fans from each organization.
Each of the 75 received a pair of Nike Dunks.
We only made these for you guys.
The ones at this school, the only ones that will ever been made, and none will be sold at retail stores, so this is it.
Just to know that you're appreciated for everything you do as a fan, and know you're one of the select few who get to get them, makes you feel even more special.
Future Vice Chair of Fever, Richard Brook, acted as the master of ceremonies for the night. He got some new shoes too.
And these shoes, they're special. They're meant to be, something that you treasure, something that, like the basketball program here, you treasure very near and dear to your heart, and that's what's going to happen in these shoes for me.
The banquet also included a dance-off, a visit from assistant basketball coach Gerard Haas, gourmet food, and a chance to shoot some hoops.
This photo booth was another event at the banquet which, like the famous shoes, gave students and fans a memory they could keep.
The banquet was a huge success, and Carolina fans hope this success will carry on to success against the Cameron Crazies on Saturday. In Chapel Hill, I'm Stacy Putzakulish, Carolina Week.
It's neat to think that only Carolina students are the ones who are going to be owning these shoes.
Yeah, if they're smart, maybe they'll sell them on eBay in a couple of years, and I bet they can make a lot of money from them.
I bet they could. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.